When it comes to the UFC resumes, no other fighter has a better one than Jon Jones. The former light heavyweight champion has fought some of the most dangerous fighters throughout his career. However, inside the octagon, Jones has dominated every fighter he faced. Needless to say, all the fighters who have fought Jones have experienced being never the same again. And I'm gonna tell you why. Fighting Jon Jones is one of the biggest challenges for all his opponents. However, no fighter has remained the same after going up against Bones. This is before and after Jones' evolution of fighters. Let's get started. And guys, I'm gonna warn you, the story of the second last fight in this video is devastating. Daniel Cormier won. Jones vs DC UFC 182. One of the most storied parts of Jones' career thus far is his heated rivalry with Daniel Cormier. These two guys truly didn't respect one another at the time, and they butted heads physically and verbally every chance they got. They were finally able to collide and settle things in competition at UFC 182. It was truly impressive the way that Jones beat Cormier. He took the fight to the former Olympic wrestler, taking him down 3 times and using his grappling and striking to defeat Cormier. Cormier was a top challenger, and Jones beating his rival in such a dominant fashion proved that he was truly just on another level. Daniel Cormier 2, Jon Jones vs DC UFC 214. Part 1 was so good that the UFC knew they had to run Jones vs Cormier back. It was too dramatic and it was too epic to pass up. Jones had lost his title due to reasons outside the octagon, and Cormier had taken a spot. Jones and Cormier both had their moments in their highly anticipated rematch, but the stalemate broke crazily in the third round when Jones landed a head kick that took Cormier's balance. Jones smelled blood in the water as his foe stumbled, and he followed up with relentless punches and elbows that put an end to the fight. The moment sent the crowd in Anaheim into a frenzy and put an exclamation on the rivalry between Jones and DC. But that's nothing compared to the second last fight in this video. It's brutal. Thiago Santos. Jones vs Santos, UFC 239. Thiago Santos fought Jon Jones for the light heavyweight championship at UFC 239 in 2019 and put forward an amazing fight. Santos was one of the few fighters who came close to beating Jones, but it just wasn't enough, and Santos lost the fight via split decision. Going into the fight, the Brazilian had a 4-fight win streak, but after losing to Jones, his career went downhill. Santos was never the same, lost 4 out of 5 of his future fights. Dominic Reyes. Jones vs Reyes, UFC 247. Whether it be fans, pundits, or casuals, there is a large percentage of people who believe in their soul that Dominic Reyes should have gotten the nod over Jones at UFC 247. He didn't though, and the MMA gods have been particularly cruel to him ever since matching him up with 2 individuals who have both gone on to become UFC light heavyweight champion. The first was Jan Blachowicz, who finished him brutally before Jiri Prochazka face-planted him in one of the scariest KOs of 2021. Alexander Gustafsson. Jones vs Gustafsson, UFC 232. Jon Jones' legendary bout with Alexander Gustafsson was an absolute battle. The 2 light heavyweights went the 25-minute distance and gave fight fans around the globe one of the greatest title fights in UFC history. The judges declared Jones the winner that night in Toronto, proving that he could push through adversity on the way to victory. The UFC 165 main event would later be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame fight wing and go down as one of Jones' most memorable performances. Anthony Smith. Jones vs Smith, UFC 235. Anthony Smith was once considered to be a future light heavyweight champion, and at UFC 235 got his title shot against Jon Jones. The fight went for 5 rounds, and in the end, Jones was announced as the winner by a unanimous decision. Since that loss, Smith became inconsistent and never got close to winning the belt again. Mauricio Rua. Jones vs Rua, UFC 128. When 23-year-old Jon Jones ascended to the UFC light heavyweight rankings, it was so big to see him lined up to face Pride champion and MMA icon Mauricio Shogun Rua for the light heavyweight belt. What happened at UFC 128 was shocking, as no one expected Jones to run through Shogun on his way to becoming the youngest champion in UFC history, but he did. Jones unleashed a calculated variety of punches, knees, kicks, and elbows to take his seat on the throne. Lyoto Machida. Jones vs Machida, UFC 140. Jones's win over Lyoto Machida showcased everything that makes Bones great. Machida was a very experienced and respected opponent, but Jones made it look easy. Jones was dominating the fight when he faked a kick that he followed with a beautiful left hand which dropped Machida to the canvas. Jones pressured Machida before he could fully get up and put him on a standing guillotine that would put a dramatic end to their championship bout. Machida crashed to the ground unconscious as Jones walked away. It was one of the most memorable moments in UFC history, equal parts amazing and terrifying. Jon Jones vs Cyril Gane, UFC 285. If the UFC isn't sure about giving Jon Jones an instant shot at the heavyweight title upon his return, then they could do worse than to match him with former interim champion Cyril Gane in what would be a huge fight. Gane last fought in September, stopping Tai Tuivasa in a 3-round thriller, recovering from injury and taking out Bam Bam with violent strikes in front of Parisian fans. Before that, Bon Gamin was defeated by Francis Ngannou in their heavyweight title clash, revealing concerns about his takedown defense and wrestling ability. Jones, a UFC star with impressive wrestling skills, faces a potential challenge in a fight with Gane. Gane, known for his size, power and striking ability, could easily push Jones to the limit. If Jones can defeat Gane, he could knock off a top heavyweight and establish himself as a title threat, making this a risky but intriguing fight for him. What are your thoughts on the impact of Jon Jones and his opponents? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to share this video with your friends. Remember to like and hit that bell for more in-depth explorations of the UFC world. Until next time, this is Before and After Jones, where every fight tells a story.